What's up, guys? On today's video, I'm going to be walking you through should you be doing virtual estimates as a contractor right now, and if so, how do you do them? Hey guys, this is Logan SHINHOLSER with Contractor Growth Network, and I'm going to walk through the idea of virtual estimates. Right now, we're stuck at home. We're not able to go out into people's homes, and unless you're in Wisconsin and you got to go vote, nobody is really allowed out. The idea of keeping the business thriving, keeping the business going by selling is now requiring you to do it remotely. And that is all tying into the idea of giving virtual estimates. So I want to walk through a couple ideas. First, should you be doing it? If so, how do you do it? And then last but not least, what are some of the pros and cons of actually going through these virtual estimates? So to give a bit of a backstory, this is something that we're big on. The idea of selling remotely, selling over the phone has not been this brand new idea that came to us a week or two ago, okay? It seems like everybody's now jumping on board. Everybody's now saying, oh, you should do virtual estimates, but in fact, everything CSA related was actually founded back in 2014. All this over the phone, pre-qualification and selling stuff. I know for him, for my dad who's a pond contractor, before he started selling over the phone, he would go out to a client's house. He even charged them a consultation fee to go out to their house, and he closed 24% of all of the estimates that he would give in somebody's backyard, which means that he collected at least a consultation fee on every single estimate he went on, but he only actually got a deposit check of somebody moving forward 24% of the time. Wasted tons of time. I think we mapped it out to be like 96 days or something like that he wasted that year. So fast forward to 2014, he started doing this over the phone pre-qualification process called the SHINFU, and he went from 24% collecting a deposit check when he would go into somebody's yard up to 96%. Pretty good, right? That's always been there since 2014 for us as far as virtual selling, and we even had Marcus Sheridan on our podcast talking about the idea of virtual selling. I'm seeing other people out there putting out videos talking about, hey, we can do everything virtually, like let us know, and we're even doing that ourselves. So the idea of virtual selling, should you do it, yes or no? We're a big fan of yes, you absolutely should. Now it does come with a bit of a caveat as far as, are people gonna go for virtual selling right now? Are people gonna want to buy virtually for you? And that's something that you're gonna have to figure out. A lot of companies right now, they're putting all of their eggs into the virtual sales basket, meaning they're putting all their effort, all their time, all their money, all their resources into selling using over the phone or video conferencing means. But what they're forgetting is a lot of people are not buying right now. A lot of people are still afraid at home and they don't know what's gonna happen. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, so they're not quite ready to buy. So you're putting all this money into advertising virtual estimates, but unfortunately, not as many people are buying right now as they were this time last year. So you have to be self-aware of that, and that's where we're really big on pushing this brand building phase right now. You have more people at home on social media, so you actually have a much larger audience, but they're not taking the actions that you want them to take. So what should you be doing? Go ahead and start doing all the brand building stuff, posting to social, collecting email addresses, nurturing campaigns, all the stuff that you should be doing anyway. Right now, you're never gonna get a better time and a cheaper rate. So right now is the perfect time to build your brand. So the virtual selling should be a thing. However, just understand that a lot of people they're just not buying right now. I mean, think about you personally in your own world. What large purchases have you made in the past 3 weeks? Have you gone out and bought a new car? Have you personally put an addition on your home? Understand that the way that you're thinking about everything right now, a lot of other people out there have the same thoughts. So if you do want to do virtual estimates, which this is going to be the future of everything, how do you do it? So I want to walk through a couple platforms and a couple of realistic expectations of how well this will go. First off, let's just jump into phone versus video. How should you do it? You can sell over the phone. That's what the SHINFU and the Contractor Sales Academy is all about, is how to actually sell over the phone, how to pre-qualify over the phone. Everything that you need to know on how to do that is over there. They do a great job teaching that, and that's how I sell. Now, if you want to kick it one notch up, that's where virtual selling comes in, meaning you have a webcam on both people. And here's what that does is, you know what it's like when you first talk to a prospect on the phone, that conversation versus when you're actually in their space and you're able to see each other? Well, the body language aspect and the eye contact aspect makes selling that much more intimate and personal. So you're driving a better connection with people. So when you're sitting down and you're trying to sell remotely, the phone is great, but using a video conferencing tool so you can actually look at each other in the eyes, it's gonna be way more powerful and a way better sales platform to do it. So it's a good start with just doing it over the phone, but it's way more impactful and powerful and effective if you can get them to do it using a video conferencing platform. Gonna be a little bit harder because people are not so used to it quite yet. They will be over the next few years because the world was going this way anyway. It's been around for a while, it's just now starting to creep into the contracting world. Here's how you actually will do it, and here's some of the platforms that we've worked with and how it should all go. First off, the most popular one right now is gonna be Zoom. Zoom is one that I would probably recommend because one, it's gonna be the most affordable. You can do everything you want, and it's probably the most user-friendly. A homeowner can hop on it on their smartphone, they can hop on it on their iPad, on their computer, whatever it is, and it's pretty straightforward. You just look at each other. It's 20 bucks a month per host if you want the small and medium business, which is what I would suggest, because you can also record all of your calls. As long as the other person knows, which it'll say this call is recording, you can record them, and then you can go back and re-watch, like the same way that Brady watches film highlights. So you can actually go back and check everything out to see how you're doing. So it's actually a two-in-one, benefit there from selling, but then also watching how you're doing with everything. So I would highly suggest using Zoom, just because it's the most universal at this point. Everybody knows it, and it's pretty cost effective. So the next one over that is also another good one is going to be your go-to meeting. All right, this one, it's a little bit cheaper. It's pretty comparable to the same pricing as Zoom is. The only thing is it's not nearly as user-friendly. So there's very few complications whenever I hop on Zoom calls as far as how it all should work and where, if the other person on the other side of things understand how it works. GoToMeeting, there's always a learning curve. So you're going to have to walk people through stuff more. So be aware of that. GoToMeeting is another good one. I would still favor. And then the last one that I would suggest is going to be join.me. This is actually what I used to use back at Indeed.com. Again, it's about 20 bucks a month. This is going to be the hardest one as far as user interface, meaning whenever somebody gets on the other side, man, it is tough for them to figure out how to just unmute. So this is fine if it becomes more popular and more people use it more, but I would definitely go with Zoom first, then GoToMeeting, and then Join Me. So those are all three of there's paid options. I would suggest getting the paid version because with Zoom, if you go for the free version, it caps out at 40 minutes. So they all have like a bit of a freer version, I believe, or at least I know Zoom does. I would start off with Zoom, and then if for some reason you don't like that sales rep, work your way down. But I would suggest getting some sort of platform. You have two other options here that you could also do that are free. And the first one is going to be using FaceTime on your iPhone, your computer. A lot of people, especially in the older demographics, you're probably thinking, well, like the older crowd's not going to know that, if they're 65 or 70, they're not going to know how to, actually use FaceTime. But in fact, they're actually better when they're in that age range than people who are younger, because when you're older, they're going to be FaceTiming their grandkids. So they actually have a pretty good understanding of how FaceTime works. It's literally just a button that you click on your iPhone and you're good to go. So you can use that. The only downside of that is, one, it's super informal, which may be a benefit to you, but then also you can't record anything. You can't show your screen, so you can put stuff up on the screen this way, and that's actually how I personally sell, where let's say I'm trying to sell somebody a website, I'll actually put a website up on the screen and say, check that out, what do you think of that website? So then that way we're looking at the same thing at the exact same time, and I can use visuals to sell. Can't do that with FaceTime. Then the other option is going to be Google Hangouts. Hangouts is Google's version of free calling. You got to have a Gmail account to have one of these. It's pretty solid though. It can do the video calls, it can share screens. The quality is not as good as the other ones, but it is free. So you kind of have that going for you. So I would say if you really, before you want to go all into the virtual side of things, if you really want to test it all out, try Hangouts, because you can get it all for free, and it's got everything that you need. I don't think it has call recording, but it's a good jump off point. But if you know that, if you embrace the fact that this is the future, just go ahead and jump onto Zoom and you're good to go. Now let's talk about some of the realistic expectations with this. Is one, it's technology. There's always going to be a learning curve. So you're going to have to get used to explaining how this stuff works. So one thing that I would suggest is before your call, maybe create a basic guide of how to use Zoom. So what you're doing is, somebody submits a lead to you and you call them up and you say, hey, I got your lead for a new pool in your backyard or a new addition on your home. You want to go through we do a video call just to make sure we're on the same page for everything. Can we do it tomorrow at 4 p.m.? Great, got it. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over a link that has the actual join link to this. Plus, right below it, I'm going to send you a video that I recorded that just shows you the basics of how to operate Zoom. So that way you know what buttons to click, what you need to do to turn on the microphone and your webcam. How does that sound? Great. Sending something like that over, which you can record in Loom and show them like a back end of how it all works, you're going to help them, and you're already starting off everything with a great customer experience. So you have to understand that a lot of people this is newer to them. So make sure that you're very patient and you know this technology pretty well yourself, because inevitably you're gonna have a lot of issues from the other side of things, and the last thing that you want is for them to come into this meeting already frustrated because the software that you're having them go through is tough to use. So a lot of people are working from home for the first time ever. So be aware that a lot of these technologies are still new to a lot of people. To wrap this whole thing up, one, should you be doing virtual selling right now? Yes, absolutely, but with the caveat of understanding that right now, there's not a lot of people that are out there buying. So instead of putting all your eggs into the virtual selling basket, put 80% of your eggs into building your brand, getting a lot of market share right now. So when this thing is over, or we're on the back end of this thing and people are starting to open up their wallets again and start to breathe a little bit, and you're still doing the virtual selling, you have this massive following. So build the brand, build your email list. Now is the time to do it. Two, the services that you should really go for, the platforms that you should consider using. One, first and foremost, it goes Zoom, then hit on the GoToMeeting, and then join me in that order as far as the paid options. Free options, you can always do FaceTime, or you can use Google Hangouts, which is another good one. And then last but not least is be aware that there's gonna be a learning curve for all this stuff, the same way that you had to learn how to use your phone for the first time, or Gmail for the first time, or how to upload your first YouTube video, or how to smash the like button for the first time on this video. Thank you. So be aware that this is going to be a thing. It's not super straightforward for everybody, but once you learn how to sell using your video conferencing, it is game on, because you can do these video calls where you're looking at somebody face to face and you have your screen up where you're actually walking through brochures or past pictures or testimonials or whatever you want. So you're effectively selling to them the same way that you would sell in their space, but over computer in the comfort of your own home. So you don't have to drive all the way out there. You can figure out if you are a good fit before you ever hop in your truck, okay? Sell virtually, be aware of what's going on right now as far as expectations, and be ready to help people through this process, because in fact, you are the expert when they're looking to hire somebody. Cool? See you guys. Smash the like button. Bye.